Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Personal Finance. In today's video, we're going to look at what would be your investment priority. How do you allocate your money and what is the recommended method, right? These are informational or educational videos and not an investment advice. The information I'm going to share is based on Boglehead's forum. For any of you who are not aware what Bogleheads are, these are people who follow the philosophy of John Bogle, who was the founder of Vanguard and also the founder of low cost index funds. Right? He revolutionized investing for retail investors, and these suggestions are from that forum. The links are there in the description, and there are a few different variations available, but at least you want to pick one that would match your personal preference and follow that, right? The very first one is to have an emergency fund. It's very important to have an emergency fund that's readily available for your immediate need. It could be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months based on your individual preference. If you're a two income family, both husband and wife are working, then maybe a 6 months would be better off instead of a 1 year because you have an additional income coming from the other person. But if you're a single income family with kids, then you're better off having a 12-month reserve in readily accessible cash, right? It could be in a money market or high yield savings account. So it comes in handy when you need it. And if you happen to use those funds, make sure you rebuild the fund to the level that you typically want to have. It could be you have a medical expense or you got laid off and you need money for your monthly brokerage or not brokerage, mortgage, etc. Right? And if you use like 6 months worth of funds and eventually you find a job and you start building up, and make sure rebuild your emergency fund. And it's very important that you have the cash readily available so you don't end up using a credit card or any high income, high interest expenses, right? So it's very important to have your emergency funds built up. Second one, if you do have a 401k with the employer, make sure you get at the minimum the matching contribution level. Most employer might do 4%, 5%, 6%. So at least do that minimum that you could get the matching contribution. Next is get your high debt like credit card debt. So anything that's high in interest rate gets cleared, right? Make sure you consciously pay that off as well. And if you have an HSA account, try to maximize your HSA as well. And then followed by your retirement accounts. If you have additional money, go back, fill out your 401k to the maximum allowed contribution for that year. And then traditional IRA. And if you have medium interest debt, then try to clear those out. And then if you still have additional money, 529. And then the last is the taxable brokerage accounts, right? Which you could still invest in your mutual funds or individual stocks as well. And then finally is the mortgage. If you want to put additional money on top of your monthly payments towards your mortgage payments, you can do that as well. Again, these are generic guidelines. It may or may not work for everyone, but at least gives you an idea as where you want to prioritize. Obviously, I would focus on the emergency fund first. If you do not have an emergency fund, focus on at least building a 3 month and then adding on and making it a 6 months or 1 year, whichever amount you're comfortable with. But do have an emergency fund. And then the 401k match, don't want to leave money on the table, right? If you put $1 and if your employer is going to put $1, you get immediate 100% returns on investment, right? So make sure you at least get the matching contribution from your employer, and then go on down that list here as well. And then I will publish the list or the link to these documents. If you are interested, you can take a look. There are a few different variations. If you are Dave Ramsey's fan, Dave Ramsey has his own variation as well. So Dave Ramsey focuses on no debt, not using credit card kind of thing. If you're a fan of that, you can take a look at that as well. But at least get an idea as where you want to focus your investments, where you want to focus your money to go, and at least have a plan for your money to be distributed across different accounts that you might have. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for your time.